to a pause and listen to the breathing and listen to the sound of your breathing and stay there. Sometimes we forget that even though the world is moving fast, that whatever it is that's going on in our head, whatever thought you may be having in the moment, we don't actually realize how long we stay in this. And as fast as the world has become to be, we too forget why we're not on the same page as everybody else, Aquarius. Now set your original face. Let your original face settle in and breathe and relax. It's important. And I say that, and this is also what the other sign's introduction has been. I feel that I needed to add this introduction because of the fact that we don't know when to come back to our original face, and how much pressure and tension that we have become because of the pressures from the outside. We don't even realize. And we think that we're being present, but we're actually not, because not even our original face is settled in with a calm heart and one that is warm and soft and gentle and a non-aggressive mind. I have the Page of Wands. My bad. Remember who you are for just a minute. Breathe into it and just really set things into perspective. 5 of Cups. We have the Wheel of Fortune. This is an end of an era. Really having to look at things from a bigger perception here, Aquarius. We have the Justice. The energy going into this reading for you guys. I went through phases and different moods as well. It came from anger to wounds, and then came after deeper wounds, and then right after I felt like I could breathe again, but then it goes back to just being more in deeper wounds. And what also was speaking to me and the energy that kept coming in was the 6 of Pentacles. Exactly. Because although we are in a state where we feel used or even abused, and I suppose that the abuse can also come from emotional abuse or even mental abuse. It doesn't have to be physical, but take this as it resonates. Remember that where we are with our mind and how aggressive we can be in the mind, because it has become a very aggressive society and aggressive also on social media. Our minds can get too caught up in the wrong things, misinformation that we really sometimes get sucked into, and then start thinking, you know, all kinds of things. And that sometimes maybe when we're not being so self-aware with ourselves, that we do pick up on the wrong information. And it's also, I think, has to do with being very discernment, like using your best judgments most of all. Aquarius, I feel like you being very smart that you are also able to pick up on these things. It's very disturbing to watch because it's a picture that you know you can't unsee. So you do shower it with so much love, right? Coming back, giving yourself the kindness that you need, because the world can be so aggressive and you don't quite understand why it is so. And sometimes that could be interpreted as someone angry at you, or are they just angry at themselves? We are seeing things in a different way, Aquarius. Bigger images, bigger perception. I think stepping into Sagittarius season, that has become the catalyst to also your evolution, inner self. I suppose it's on development, spiritual development, personal development, things that you know you have been working on, that you know is not something to be talked about, but to also be very aware about, and to know when to heal when all else falls, all else fails. I embrace a life of infinite breakthroughs, exactly, and personal growth. My journey never ends. Right. I think that's where we go into having to look at different things now, and people and places and even relationships in a bigger perspective. Just this is having to look at things in depth, and however you want to resonate with that. But just being also aware of where you are with your heart at all times. Your body is an obvious example of nature's abundance. Hundreds of billions of cells are provided for. And what you are able to use, what you are able to do with that, use it to your advantage. And maybe at this time, your sense of stamina. Detach yourself from negative influences. It's important sometimes that we take a break from outside noises, just really loud noises, if you know what I mean by that. Really loud noises that should not even be a thing, or even exist, or even be floating in the air, because it's not even a thought, and it's very irrelevant to actually what is happening, Aquarius says. The mystery of life is your mystery to solve, and as you just cruise through, just in this journey of knowing, inner knowing, Aquarius, you're just having to like ride with the waves. Meanwhile, everything else just feels like, and what it also looks like, everything is just kind of falling apart around you. And I suppose that you are one to just like take the initiative to pick up where everyone else, you know, left off. And then you're here to be one that you're being at this time, to be a leader, to be a counselor, to be a teacher, be a coach, a speaker, public speaker, and what you also may be into at this time, what you're getting yourself into, taking classes, and perhaps also taking communication class. It's having to voice out the things that you know are important, but getting help from professionals, getting help from people who are even more experienced than you are. Take this as it resonates, and you just having to go with the flow. Whatever will help you at this time, Aquarius, is what we actually need, the essentials. And you may be one looking at everybody all crazy because you're just wanting to be in this pace that you're on. It is not this sense of power, of authority. It is one that you're going into thinking and acting and speaking like yourself. And I suppose you are one who loves to teach and who loves to share stories, and that these are things that you actually want to also share and provide for the world. And if you're able to do this better, more professional, it is one that you are going after, Aquarius. Make a decision today that you will live in faith and not in fear. And when we place ourselves in compassion, when we're grounded in wealth, victory, love, wisdom, passion, power, when we place ourselves in compassion, that is what we are seeing in the world also. And you may be one setting an example for all without you even knowing that you are sometimes. Sometimes you're just cruising through life and you're just being yourself. You're being exactly how you're programmed to be. Remember, how we are programmed now is not the same as how we were programmed even before the pandemic. And we're in 2022. And I suppose these two are conditions from when you were still a little girl, a little boy. And those things can still come to surface and make you have a war with your mind when it comes to emotions and feelings that come up. And for our Aquarians, we are very much set in stone and really grounded in who we are, and as we speak, as we step into the world. How we see ourselves is not so how everyone sees us when we step up, when we show face. We're not seen in the way that I suppose we think, if that makes any sense. And it is one that is not rooted in ego, you say. But also ego can be very healthy if we were to just water it, tend to it, and not let it drive us for the wrong reasons, for also doing the wrong reasons for no reason. We are walking around with a healthy ego and healthy essence. I have rise, creation. Out of the ashes, I rise like the golden sun. Spiritual direction inspires my creative flow. And we may be one having to go with the creative flow, really just having to just step back from society for a minute and holding yourself accountable for what you love, what you're here for, the whole purpose of your identity and how you want to show up for the world. Presentation is everything. We like to do things in a very weird way, and we don't expect people to understand why we do these things in a weird way, because we too are just trying to go with the flow and understand this big spirit or whatever this feeling is that I feel every day that's guiding me through it. And we also don't expect people to, tell us whatever they want to tell us, because I'm not here for someone to feel sorry. Aquarius is just one to really understand things from their point of view through visualization, through, you know, seeing a picture rather than someone speaking about it or writing about it or having to read about it. It's just, we see things from a bigger perspective and we work off from there. Dang. Whew. The flow I went into a couple times during you guys' reading, like I said earlier, anger, trauma, which explains a whole lot of this, you having to pour it all out in the way that you do. And I suppose that you are one to find time for yourself to go into this flow and having to reflect and having to vent to friends or family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or even it's not one that you can sit with on your own by yourself. And this may be that time where we are having to just step back from reality, step back from society, step back from the people and the places, and really having to put yourself in your mindset and not the mindset that people think you should have, easily influenced, and also easily manipulated into things, because we do have this sweet, sensual aura to us, and that can also attract other energies that isn't so good for your mental health or even emotional health at this point. And we are having to put ourselves in a place of passion and even more compassion. I think that making moves and taking action on what has left you feeling less than, taking action will definitely keep the mind at ease and in flow, and not just, it's like your sense of flow, Aquarius. It's not of the system, but an inner system that you mostly feel that you follow, and that's absolutely valid. And I suppose at this point that if somewhere were to not agree with that inner system or how you go about things, I would really question that and ask why that would be such a bad thing to do, or not even question it. Just move along, bro. Just do it. Just do whatever you love. Make a decision today that you will live in faith and not in fear. Remember what I said earlier. Your true essence, and not the character, the identity that this society has made you out to be. And that you may be that one kid that loves and is so sweet to everyone, and every time you come into them, around them, you're just very understanding and kind, and at the same time you too are getting manipulated and controlled in certain ways, and how we are about with one another in person, because it's not the same. I feel like going into lockdown, that had made an impact on our thinking, which then made an impact on our emotions, which then made an impact on our physical, and why we feel sore everywhere, why we feel restricted somewhere, why we're not moving faster enough, depression's kicking in again, anxiety is through the roof. It's these things that keeps rising, coming up, that we too do not pay attention to, because there is a lot of outside noises that keeps us down and keeps us down. And you just don't want to have to be in a place of authority, or even, although you do carry that sense of demeanor to you, Aquarius, this sense of power, of authority. You just have that sense of, I guess, let's say, healthy ego, right? There's so much that comes with having to also stay as humble in times of chaos, in times of, war. And to you, yes, this time around, very important that we keep our mind quiet. Thoughts arising, overthinking. We might be also finding ourselves pacing a whole lot. Like nowhere to go, but we're like in the car wanting to go places. Like for what? Our mind is just racing. But actually, it's funny, I did that today. Well, I went to the store, but I went to a different store, so it was a lot farther than the one next to my house. But I wanted to go to that store because I also needed to drive. Because when you drive, your mind is just free. Ew. Aquarius, all you have in this world is your balls and your word. I just said the word B. Gross! Thank you for letting me do this reading. Thank you guys. I love you. I'll see you later. Bye. Remember your gifts.